It's a great technique, but what can you do with it? The Knack and Help. Reviewed by Pauline Kael. For some time, the smart boys had been saying that the future of movies was in TV commercials. That's where the real experimentation was going on, where the real talents were working. They didn't mean it cynically. It was possible to try tricky shots and fast cutting, which looked like an advance over the sluggish big studio methods. And then Richard Lester came along and demonstrated that movies could be made that were just like TV commercials. Not too surprisingly, he was quickly acclaimed as a cinematic genius. He and other directors fill their time between movies by making commercials. As Lester puts it, it's a year's free testing of tricks. There's just one thing the matter with his genius, but it's a big thing. The content of his 1965 movies, The Knack and Help, is the same as the content of TV commercials. At first, in A Hard Day's Night, it seemed to be different because the Beatles were exhibited as joyful, anarchic, witty, that is to say, mildly rebellious. It almost looked as if the techniques of TV could be separated from and used against what was being sold. The Beatles were thought to be anti-establishment, but with astonishing speed, the advertising establishment has incorporated rebellion. Only the consumption patterns, the tokens, remain: the long hair, the tight pants, the leather jackets, the motorcycles, the attitudes of indifference to adult values, the contempt for adult hypocrisy. The outer forms of fantasy and rebellion become the new conformity. Youth is encouraged to be narcissistically youthful. It is cool not to let anything interfere with having a good time. Anarchism becomes just another teenage pop fad, another pitch. In the two-dimensional comic strip world of Help, everybody's in a rush. The movie can't slow down any more than TV commercials can. It deliberately has no depth. It is nothing but a chase, turning a structural device of early movies into the total substance, and without anywhere to go. Help is all climax, but nothing is prepared for. Finally, it just exhausts itself and stops. In The Knack, the running jokes and gags never come off. In Mack Sennett comedies, to which Lester's work is often compared, an idea would be developed, and there would be the audience delight in watching it build. And as the two-reel format provided a quick cutoff point, the audience was quickly released from the surreal and restored, refreshed to ordinary viewing. Lester doesn't build ideas. He picks up a gag and goes on to another. If there are enough gags, perhaps the audience, panting to keep after them, will not worry about why they don't go anywhere. The ingenuity becomes as tiresome as the pace. Nothing is more fatiguing than things whizzing by too fast. After a while, you don't care how clever it all is. Despite the activity, or perhaps because of it, the main figures are rather flat. The more spurious the spontaneity around them, the more lacking in spontaneity they seem. Lester, perhaps aware of this problem, tries to manufacture sympathy by placing Ringo Starr or Rita Tushingham at the center, but the center will not hold. In this advertising context, in which the first principle is that everything can be made beautiful, they are awkward survivors from an earlier kind of comedy who give the lie to the format. There really isn't any such thing as character in the world of TV commercials. There is only anonymous popularity. We are all models. If there were an idea, if there were characters, the movie would risk being square. In the current world of popular entertainment, the more pointless and nonsensical the plot, the more cool and sophisticated the movie may seem, an indication perhaps that the advertising world has made all feeling seem false. It's commercially safer to be deliberately foolish than to attempt something and be thought foolish. These impersonal makeshift movies, inoffensive, pleasant enough nonsense while you're seeing them, are all over with the seeing. The product is completely consumed. There is not even any roughage. By the time you're outside the theater, you've already forgotten the movie. You're hungry again. There is nothing to take home, no memory, hardly even an aftertaste. Thank you for listening.